doing malnutrition screening, which was at the time very brand new. No one had heard of it. We started doing physical assessments, which also had never been heard of. And so while doing all of that, I got to understand that the reputation that dietitians had was always like, we are going to come in and get it done. But in the clinical world, people just didn't respect us as much as I wanted them to. So that really led me to being more vocal, developing new kind of mentor programs. And also at that time, I got to know some of the people on the land board, or the LDA board at the time. And so there was a public policy position that came available, and I really just kind of got thrown into that position. And that was also an aha moment for me. Like, I want dietitians to be at the forefront. I want dietitians to get the respect they deserve. So I'm going to do that through public policy. And so after stepping into that role, I recruited other dietitians who worked for me at the time. So it was a great position to be in because I had position of influence. And a lot of the dietitians who worked for me came along. Catherine Fake, some of you might know her. She was kind of my right hand. And we started knocking down policy. And so we implemented several strategies that led to getting order writing approved for dietitians in Louisiana. We got added to the telehealth bill. We also got malpractice insurance. So we just started playing catch up and trying to figure out things that we had been left out of and how we could get dietitians more of what they deserved and more of what they needed. Obviously, there's still a long way to go, but it's just, it was the beginning. So that was kind of my beginning of getting involved in volunteer work and also management. So after that, I just became crazy busy. I got involved with anything and everything at the hospital and didn't say no to any projects. And eventually I did that for about 3 years. And then I got promoted to Director of Nutrition and Metabolic Services, which was an amazing, fun job. And just a story, as you're starting your career, to really go after what you want. Dietitians, a lot of times, I find, we have to really speak up if we want something, because we can easily get kind of left out, or people, lump us with a certain group of people in a hospital and say, oh, you guys are food service, you just like deliver the meals. So you have to really stand up and help people understand who we are and what we do. And there was a nurse who was the Director of Nutrition and Metabolic Services, and I wanted that job because I said a dietitian should have that job. And I marched into administration. I don't know what came over me that day, but I marched into administration. I sat in the office of someone that I had never met before and said, I want that job, and it needs to be a dietitian. So they looked at me like I was crazy. Needless to say, walked out of there without the job. But 3 months later, the person who had the job was removed from it, and they called me and said, this job is available. We want you to have it. So they rewrote the job description so that a dietitian could have the job. And it was amazing. I got to support the bariatric surgery program. I got to support the medical weight loss program and the diabetes and nutrition program. So that was like a dream job for me. I got to do all this programming. I got to hire dietitians. I got to create positions for dietitians. And I felt like I was making an impact in the community, just bigger picture. So I did that for a while. And then reality hit and financials hit, and my job was almost eliminated. So then I had to take on a lot of other stuff that I'd never done before, like clinic management, like physicians. And when you go to a doctor's office, like I started taking on managing those kinds of clinics. And you could probably tell I'm a person who doesn't say no a whole lot. So just did it and figured it'll take me somewhere one day. I don't know where, but it'll take me somewhere. So I did it, and I did ask at that time, I want to keep everything that I've had because it brings me joy and it really feeds my spirit. So I want all this other stuff, plus I'll take on the stuff you gave me. And it was perfectly fine. And I did it, and then realized, okay, I think I want to keep doing this. While now I've made this bigger footprint in the world, I want to make an even bigger footprint. So I went back and got my master's degree. I'm in health administration from FranU. And that was really good for me because I was doing the work and learning all at the same time. And so I got my master's degree, luckily right before the requirement that if you want to be a director or above, you have to have a master's degree. So it was perfect timing. So I did that. At that point, still public policy chair for LAN, still working on policy for dietitians, advocating any chance I had, and then becoming more involved in the community. So many of you probably know Healthy BR. So around that time, I got to know Jared, and he and I became fast friends, and we started brainstorming and coming up with projects and how could we improve the community and nutrition of the community. So, you know, lots of great partnerships developed, and as time went on, um, still kind of developing relationships. So where I am today, and I've been a dietitian now for 12 years. I've been in management since 2013, so 7 years. Now I'm senior director of operations and do a whole lot of stuff that as a dietitian I never thought that I would have done. I lead all of the COVID testing efforts for the lake right now. I have pediatric clinics. I do a lot of acquisitions. I also support all of the school nursing and medical services for East Baton Rouge Parish schools. So that's like 40,000 kids. I have 100 team members. So real population health kind of stuff. So my interest has really morphed, and I'm really focused now on population health, not only in the area of nutrition, but kind of all areas. I like to talk about areas that I consider to be like food deserts. We always talk about food deserts. I really like to call them everything deserts, because if you notice, when you go into an area, there's nothing. It's not just food that's missing, it's everything that's missing. So a lot of my focus and work is around addressing that, and really kind of still building relationships. So my volunteer work has also kind of blossomed at the same time as my career. And so now I'm president-elect for LAN, or president, I should say, for LAN, as you guys mentioned. I am a spokesperson for the Academy, which is one of my favorite things to do, because it lets me be a voice for all dietitians, and I get to do some really cool stuff and talk to some really cool people. I'm also on the Legislative Public Policy Committee, and in light of recent events and kind of the awakening of our country, we've developed a diversity-specific group around public policy. So doing some work on advocating for more minority representation amongst dietitians, healthcare professionals, looking at nutrition and COVID and the disproportionate effect of minorities in our country. And so I get to do some of that really cool work. And in parallel, I haven't even talked about so for a while I was a dietitian doing direct care, I'm sorry, you guys can probably hear my kids screaming. Doing direct care, I started a little business on the side, as most dietitians often do, doing meal plans and, you know, just kind of getting my feet wet and getting to understand people more. And that taught me a lot. It really taught me a lot about perception, what makes a successful dietitian, you know, giving people what they need, not just what I think they need, really doing more listening than talking as I made meal plans so that I was successful. And I really was successful while I did that. And I was successful for a while doing meal plans, and then realized that I kind of grew out of that. And now I do a lot of consulting and speaking specifically about diversity, but also cultural empathy, and how dietitians are often from a different cultural group than the people that they serve, and how do we close that gap and empower ourselves and educate ourselves on that. So now I have a little business called Tableau Consulting that I really love and cherish, and I've created a set of cards called Tableau Topics to help people start conversations that might be really hard, especially in the field of nutrition, just to talk about cultural empathy, traditions, how do we cross barriers that we never thought we would have to as dietitians, because we just talk about food, but realizing that food is a central part of each and every one of us, and how do we make an impact by recognizing that. So that has become a big part of who I am today, outside of just kind of working my way up in healthcare. And so now that I've kind of, the past decade of my career was really around providing direct care and establishing an infrastructure of programs for people. Now my focus is really on changing the community and focusing on population health. I still do a lot of nutrition specific work, And as a dietitian, you know, it's really important for you to be that spokesperson for dietitians, because a lot of times I'll sit at a table that has nothing to do with nutrition and I stick it in there that I'm a dietitian. So then people say, oh, she's a dietitian. I'm currently also the president of the American Heart Association in the capital area, and I get to drive the policies. I get to drive the work that we do. And right now we're focusing on health equity and nutrition. So all of the work that we're doing is going to be focused on nutrition. If I wasn't a dietitian, probably wouldn't be doing it. So I get to drive policies. I get to drive initiatives. So while it is amazing that we have dietitians who are out there doing the direct care that we so desperately need to reduce chronic disease and improve the health of our community, it's also important to have dietitians sit at tables that we historically have not been at administrative level, so that we can have a voice for nutrition and the amazing things that dietitians do to be able to create more positions. You know, recently I was doing a pro forma and slipped a dietitian in there, and somebody said, why do we need a dietitian? Take it out. I did have to take it out, but I'm still advocating for it. So, you know, it's just the idea of introducing the idea or a concept. So as dietitians, you know, really push the envelope. We are typically amazing, hardworking, like I said, get it done kind of people, and we are known for that in healthcare, whether you know it or not. So take advantage of that and really start, you know, dietetics, nutrition is really a central component. As I mentioned, food is central to each and every person, which makes it so attractive to everybody. That's why everybody wants to talk about food, even though not everybody is a dietitian or has the expertise that we have. But we have to leverage that, because there's not one single thing in this world that isn't touched by food or nutrition or the fact that people have to eat. So whatever your passion might be, you know, leverage it and recognize that you have a voice that's bigger than what you probably already know in the world of healthcare or the community, wherever you might be. So let me take a look at my list. So I think I've talked about me a good bit. I'd rather answer questions or talk about things that you all would like to talk about. So I will pause. And so do I go to the chat, or are people just going to ask questions?
I didn't see any questions in the chat, okay. But if a student wants to ask, you can just unmute yourself and go ahead and ask.
If y'all don't want to like talk or ask a question out loud, you can send it in the chat now too if you have anything else.
I'll ask a question real quick. So how did you start your side business with doing meal plans, and how did you like attract and keep your clients there?
So, God, how did I start it? You know, I remember. So while I was a dietitian during the day at the dialysis clinics, I worked at Women's Center for Wellness in the evenings, and I worked at the front desk. And I did that forever. I had worked there for probably 5 or 6 years. And so everybody who came in there would come in and see me studying at night before I was a dietitian, and then everybody just got to know me. So eventually people just started saying, hey, you're a dietitian now. Can you do some meal plans? I remember like packing a scale in my bag one night and bringing it up to work and like weighing somebody and counseling them like right there. So after that, I was like, okay, I should probably look into this and do something with it. So I developed a little business, Pure Nutrition. I found some software online that still exists today. It was really cheap, really great. Nutrition, what was it? Nutrition, Nutrahan. That was the software. So I got the software, and then I started making meal plans. And I was successful because typically if you think of meal plans, or like if you go onto a service, they're going to give you some like pre-generated meal plan. I didn't do that. I like sat down with the person. I would understand everything that they like, and I would like literally make a meal plan every day for them that was something different. And I would send them a week at a time. It included recipes. It was extremely personalized, and people liked that because you couldn't get it anywhere else. So I would charge them, you know, I don't even remember how much, but it was good money, to be perfectly honest. So they would pay me like for a week or a month, whatever it was. And then people started telling other people. And really, I could only manage a few at a time. So I always just kind of kept it a few at a time. But that was my success, is like I wasn't doing just like not everybody. I've probably had 30 or so clients who've kept me for like some of them over a year. Like I would do that for a year long. And I would literally sit at my computer on Sunday evenings and make personalized meal plans for every single person. So it was a lot of work, but it was fruitful and people loved it. They couldn't get it anywhere else. So just, you know, you have to kind of look for a niche and really, again, like give people what they want. There's not sustainable stuff out there. You guys know that. Like, can't get something personalized. You can't get something that's going to really keep my interest for a long time. I can only do keto for so long. So, you know, so I think there's still a market for it.
I have a question. You mentioned like working on the diversity within, you know, dietetics. So do you have any advice for us being future dietitians and health professionals to like encourage diversity in dietetics and like reach out, like if people are interested who may not be like, I don't know, that doesn't really seem like it's for me?
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, it has been about just like being okay talking about it and saying like there is a lack of diversity. It exists. And so once we all know that and we're all comfortable with it, then it brings about a whole nother level of conversation where we can start saying, you know, how can I help diversity in dietetics, like by supporting Diversify Dietetics or other organizations like Diversify. I'm partial to that one because I am on their advisory board. But outside of that, looking at the gap and saying, how do I close the gap? So while there might not be diversity in dietetics right now, let me try to close the gap on the reason why. So whether it's introducing dietitians of color to other dietitians of color, or saying like, hey, I know Kristen would, you know, you could always talk to her. She might have some advice that I can't give. Or by talking to one thing that I always tell people too as dietitians is seek out others who are in the community that you serve. So Jared in Healthy BR is really good at that. So like he serves a lot of different communities, but he goes to people in the community to find out like, what do you need? So that he's not like marching into a community saying, here's what you need on a platter. And then people are closed off or don't really feel like he's invested. So people just have to realize that you're really invested in creating more diversity, in acknowledging diversity, and you'll start to attract it. I think that we just historically have not been able to acknowledge or have that conversation. But as long as you're comfortable with it, I think it will attract it and improve it. Thank you for asking that.
I have a question. Do you have any like advice for upperclassmen that are going to be like applying to internships and stuff soon?
Yes. Oh, God, I'm thinking back to like the days when I was an upperclassman, and like you guys have a much better advantage probably. Like I didn't realize I was applying for an internship until like I was like late my junior year. I say, I guess things have changed so much, but for me, realizing that the work that I did had value, like I had value, I was going to bring something to the table too. But I can remember like writing back then, I don't know if it's still, like I had to write a letter of interest, and I was very honest. And I said to MUSC, I want to come to your program because you have 3 surgery programs that are on the US News and World Report. One of them is GI. So I feel like I need to be there because like, so like I was very honest. I didn't BS it. I didn't say a whole bunch of stuff. I just said, I want to go there because you're in US News and World Report, and was very honest about that. So I think just be honest, be open, realize that if you don't get in, there's, you know, continue the work, like keep pursuing it because we need you guys to be out there like pushing. So prepare yourself as best you can, be as honest with yourself as you can, and just be totally, you know, recognize, like, find a program that speaks to you. Don't just try to be like a round peg in a square hole where you're like, I need to go to this program, so I'm just going to do it. Or this program is 30 miles away, so I'm just going to go here because that works. You have to find a program that fits what you want to do and who you are. And I found that I only applied to 2 programs, but I knew MUSC was across the country, even though nobody wanted me to go across the country. But I knew that that is where I wanted to go, and that was like where I needed to be. And it worked, like it miraculously worked out. So find the program that fits you. Do the research. I know that kind of sounds scary, but
That is exactly the level of honesty I give them. So thank you.
yeah. Okay, good. I don't want to scare anybody off, but I'm a pretty
That's
straight
okay.
shooter.
They're learning to ride the fear wave.
Good. That'll help you in life. Any other questions? Like anything at all? Like I wish I had the opportunity to ask people who are more experienced than myself questions. And if you don't feel like asking me a question, I'd be happy to answer it via email.
I have a good one. As fellow land board member, what can we be telling them to get students more involved in leadership positions?
Yes.
When they become RDs, what
Yes.
to know to get on board? Literally.
Oh, excellent question. So that is something that is I'm trying to figure out like how to keep people engaged. So you guys are the future of dietetics, literally. So earlier I told you about how like I was young, fairly young in my career, and somebody said, you should be on the board. You got to do this. And I just said, yes. I try that with a lot of people. I tell people all the time, well, you need to be on the board. People say, no, I don't want to. But you have to understand that if you don't, who will? Like somebody has to continue to advocate and push policies and be the leader for dietitians. If you don't do it, who will? And I hate to keep saying that, and I will be honest, like outside of just that whole moral, ethical, you're a dietitian, lead the path for other dietitians, it is the most effective way to do networking that I know. So I have met so many people, and just being the president, so now I meet other people who are also, I meet businesses who are trying to solicit us for business. So I've met so many contacts, so many people. I can tell you that if I needed a job right now, I could call anybody on the board and I'd have a job. So selfishly, that is a great networking tool to get to know other leaders in your profession so that you have a network that will help you grow in any direction that you want to go, whether it's private practice, whether it's also like Blue Cross, like we made contacts at Blue Cross, to say, okay, well, so I helped facilitate a session on how to get credentialed with Blue Cross. So you want to know people who can help you along, but you also want to be that person who can help other people along. So the board is self-serving, but it is also a great way to support your community of dietitians and stay active with A&D. For so many years, dietitians pushed back on me and said, like I get nothing from A&D. Why would I continue to join it? You give what you get, but A&D is a great source of knowledge. It's a great source of networking. Again, like I'm very big on the networking aspect. So becoming a volunteer, obtaining all the resources, like I get to speak to the National Baptist Convention, which is like thousands of people this week. And I get to talk to them about nutrition and COVID. Who else gets to do that? And like, if I wasn't active in A&D, I wouldn't have that opportunity. So don't always think about it as like, what does A&D give to me? But I mean, I hate to say it, but honestly, like, what am I going to get from A&D, which could be potentially a lot. So remain active, and we will call you and appoint you to the board quickly. That was a great question. I should have put that in my spiel. I forgot. That is so important. So if you stay in Louisiana, you become registered, please call me after if you're still interested, which you will be, right? Okay.
All right. Does anyone have any other questions? Abby, do you have a question?
I do not.
Thank you, guys. And please, seriously, my email, you can share it if anybody has questions after that you didn't want to ask or that you think of. Please feel free to reach out.
Yeah, I'll share her email in the chat if that's okay with you.
Yeah,
And
that's perfectly fine.
if y'all have any questions, y'all can email her. And then thank you so much for your time. And I
Thank
think
you guys.
a lot of what you talked about, like I know personally, like in some of the classes that I'm in, people are learning about how much you really can do as a dietitian rather than just like work in a hospital or whatever, like the basic things that people like can do. So I think everything you talked about gave people a good idea of all the places that you can go. So
Right. Yeah. You can't even imagine. The sky's the limit.
Yep.
All right. Thank you guys. Y'all have a good night.
You too.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
All right, if members want to stay tuned, we're going to do our member business because we wanted to make sure we respected Kristen's time. So I'm going to share this little. Oops. Can everyone see my PowerPoint? All right, Meredith, do you want to take it from here?
I can. So if anybody joined who didn't hear, I'm Meredith. I serve as the president this year, so super excited about that. And welcome to the Student Nutrition and Dietetics Association. So you're currently at our first meeting, September 8th. Super excited about that. On the screen, you can see our next 3 meetings. So make sure you go ahead, mark that in your calendar, and just same process, 4:30, and it'll be on this Zoom. And we have some really awesome speakers this semester, so you should totally tune in. And then membership dues. So there's a Google Doc form questionnaire thing. I know it's posted on the Facebook page and should be sent out again and like a follow-up email for this meeting. But so fill that out and you're gonna just select whatever you want. So there's a fall only option. So that's gonna be $15. And that includes our lovely logo tote bag. Personally, I love mine. Take it grocery shopping every weekend. There's also a full year option, which is $25, and that also includes our tote bag. And then if you want to get real like into it, you can get for $35, you can get a t-shirt, your membership, and a tote bag. So personally, that is what I would go with. Yeah, and then like I said again, so that is the link to our membership form, and you can either Venmo at SNDA LSU, super easy, or if you'd rather, you can drop off cash or a check to Dr. McKinley. If you don't know where her office is, it's in 285 Knapp Hall. So I'm not is the door unlocked, or do you have to come?
Should be. It should be, but you can always email me or call my office if I'm not there. What's my office number? 225-578-1631. And I'm in my office every Friday from 1:30 to 3:30. So you can just come by, stop by to pick up whatever you need or drop off whatever you need.
Yeah, and also please make sure to pay your dues by the end of the month. All right, so some more fun stuff. Mandatory hazing training. This is required for any organization that you attend at or are part of at LSU. But the great part of this is that you only have to do it once for all the clubs that you're in. So it should show up on your My LSU, but if it doesn't, there's a link you can go to automatically enroll in the Moodle course. So we'll make sure to include that in our follow-up email as well, but only takes about 10 to 15 minutes. Super easy, you know, just read through it. This is really important just to make sure that, you know, everybody's doing what they're supposed to be and, you know, it's a welcoming environment. So, and then once you have completed the course, make sure to download the certificate and send it to SNDA or SDA at lsu@gmail.com. And that is due on Tuesday, September 29th. So please get those in so we can let LSU know that we are all good with hazing training.
Yeah, so some of you might have it on Moodle right now. Campus Life doesn't know why some have it and some don't. So in our email that we'll send tomorrow, there'll be a link to a sheet to where you can make it show up on your Moodle. And then the nice thing about doing it this way is that you actually don't have to download the certificate. When you get an email letting you know that you finished the program properly, you can just forward that email to us. Whatever's easier. Just get it done.
All right, and then some extra little information about changes in the fall with Corona. So all of our meetings this semester are taking place virtually through Zoom. Hopefully, maybe next semester we'll be able to have in-person meetings if, you know, things start getting better. But meetings will be recorded and they're going to be posted to our private Facebook group. So make sure that you go join that if you're not already a member. And then another thing about the Facebook member group, this is where all volunteer opportunities are going to be. And then Dr. McKinley makes sure to post things in the Facebook like 24 hours before she lets anybody else know about it. So volunteer, jobs, scholarships, if you're part of that member group, you're going to hear about it first. So definitely join that. And then special virtual SNDA events will be planned and announced via email and social media. So definitely stay tuned for some of that. We want to have fun, have some fun events this semester, even if it has to be virtually. And then, yeah, so to pick up your items after you've paid for them, Dr. McKinley, again, in her office, 285 NAP. So. And then connect with us online. So if you haven't already, we have a Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Tiger Link, all of that fun stuff. So that's our Instagram and Twitter handle is just SNDA at LSU. And then as far as Facebook goes, we have a public page and a private group. So make sure to like both of those and then make sure to, you know, follow us on Tiger Link. And then meet the board.
Introduce yourself.
Yeah. So as I said, my name is Meredith. I am a junior this year. I'm from Baton Rouge, so been here a while. Yeah, a fun fact about me is my favorite animal is a whale. So, all right, Abby, do you want to go?
Sure. So my name's Abby, and I'm the president-elect. And then last year, I was also a fundraising co-chair with Shelby, who you'll meet in like 10 seconds. And so we're doing that again this year, and we'll tell you all a little bit more about that later. But basically, I'm just kind of like learning the ropes through Meredith, and then next year I'll kind of like be where she is. So, but I'll also be like telling y'all about all the fundraising stuff with Shelby. And I think we have some stuff to tell y'all in a minute, so stay tuned.
Hey guys, I'm Andie. I'm the secretary and brand liaison. Brand stands for Baton Rouge Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. So it's kind of the club with all the local RDs in the area, and students can join too, and it's only $10 for the whole year. It's a great way to network and a great way to get more involved too. I will attach the membership application to the follow-up email in case anyone wants to join. I think that's all I have.
Hey y'all, I'm Shelby. I'm the treasurer this year, and like Abby said, I'm doing fundraising co-chair with her. So if anyone has fundraising ideas that you're really passionate about, please feel free to, tell Abby or myself. And yeah, I'm the treasurer. If you have any questions about dues or anything like that, please always feel free to reach out to me. So yeah, I'm excited about this year with y'all.
Okay, I'm going to tell y'all a little bit real quick about the fundraising stuff. So usually, like last year, we tried to do a lot of like give back nights at different restaurants. We might still be doing that this semester, but with like COVID and all of that going on, we're trying to like figure out if restaurants are even doing that still, like offering that. So we'll keep y'all posted on that. But this year we designed a sweatshirt. So normally we have like a t-shirt or a sweatshirt or something like that. So me and Dr. McKinley and Shelby have kind of been going back and forth over like the last month to design a sweatshirt. So I think in the email that y'all will get tomorrow from Andie, correct me if I'm wrong, but there will be a link for you to go vote on which design you like. So it's kind of like the same design, but the like font is a little different, and you'll see what I'm talking about when you look at it. So make sure that y'all read those emails, click the link and vote, and then once we have like the set design, we'll let you know which one it is, and then we'll figure out how we're gonna go about like purchasing them.
Yeah, we're going to keep the vote open until like the last week of the month.
Yeah.
So that link will be in the follow-up email. Any other fundraising stuff?
I think that's it. Shelby, am I forgetting anything?
I'm good. Just vote on our sweatshirts.
Working hard on that sweatshirt. All right, let's meet our chairs. So Amy Sherman, she couldn't be with us because there is an ASA, Ag Student Association meeting going on right now, but she is our ASA rep, meaning that she attends all of the Ag Student Association events on our behalf and represents SNDA and kind of shares with the rest of the clubs in the college what we have going on. And then at the same time, we learn what the college has going on, what other clubs are doing. And she also will be in charge of our charity baskets this year. So that's the Thanksgiving baskets and the Easter baskets. So for those that are wondering why, when they fill out the application form for membership, we're asking you if you want to donate your tote instead of picking it up and having it. What we are doing with the donated totes are we are saving a certain number for the Thanksgiving baskets, and we're going to put the meals in those bags this year instead of just plain old boxes like we used to before, so that the families have the totes to use afterwards. So whatever totes we have left over from that we don't use for the holiday baskets, we are going to donate about 50 totes to the LSU food pantry as well. So that is what your donation is going towards when you see that, just for anyone that's wondering. So if you have questions about anything related to the holiday baskets when we do them, Amy is the person to reach out to, and she'll be on our next call when we start to talk about what we're going to do for the Thanksgiving baskets. All right, Anna, you want to introduce yourself?
Hey y'all, my name is Anna Polo. I'm a junior. I'm from New Jersey, and I am going to be the historian this year. Essentially, my job is to make sure that a lot of things, events and volunteering stuff and meetings get documented. And obviously with it being on Zoom, we have the cloud. So if you guys miss a meeting, we're recording them and then putting them in somewhere. But for any events or volunteering events that y'all do, there is a Google form link that you guys can go on and put any pictures, or you can send them to my email. But the importance of that is when Dr. McKinley is doing stuff towards the end of the year for awards, we kind of look back at the pictures and see, okay, like who was here for there and were you at this thing? So it just helps us, and it's also good for social media. I know I work hand in hand with Carolyn too, just to make sure that, you know, any pictures that y'all have, we can use for the social media to kind of entice people to come to SNDA or to kind of spark people's interests. So, yeah.
Mia?
Okay. Hi guys, I'm Mia. I'm a sophomore here. I'm from Thibodeau. Basically, as the community outreach chair position, I'll be connecting you guys to volunteer opportunities within the community. But if you guys ever find any, you know, you can still send them in, share them with us, things like that.
Audrey?
Yeah, so pretty much what she said. And real quick, I do have a little volunteer opportunity. Miss Myhan needs some volunteers to help with videotaping of the Harvest of the Month recipes and doing cooking instruction videos for the community and ingredients for hope. And there's a doodle poll that was posted on the SNDA Facebook page, but it's not working for some people. So I think I'm going to get Andie to send it out in the follow-up email and just to see if that works any better. But she said that once she gets a group of people that signed up for the same time, she'll send out more details and organize something. So sign up for that because she needs some help with the videos. But and hopefully we'll get some more volunteer opportunities in the future that everyone can sign up for. But that's it for now. So.
And then I still need a couple of volunteers to help with the involvement days sessions with Campus Life. There's a Google form, it's a Google document that you can sign up on that's in the folder for this month's meeting on the Google Drive. I just need like 2 or 3 more people to help with that. And speaking of helping, Sierra is going to talk about points.
Hi, I'm Sierra Scott, and I'm your service and points chair this year. I'm a senior. So service points this year include volunteer experiences and fundraising. So for fundraising, every $5 equals 1 service point. This year, we'll track them through a Google form, which will be in the email with the follow-up email with Andie, and it was in the past one too. And this year, we have a new mentoring program for SNDA members. There's a need for being informed in our school about what steps should be taken after graduation, and this allows underclassmen and overclassmen? No. I'm drawing a blank. I'm sorry. I'm not feeling well. They will work together and have a mentor-mentee bond. So you'll meet virtually once a month and discuss a slew of topics relating to life as a nutrition major at LSU. And so freshmen and sophomores will be mentees. Juniors can be a mentor or mentee or both. So you can help, and seniors can be a mentor to freshmen, sophomores, and juniors. More information on this mentoring program will be sent out in the meeting's follow-up email. The application will be at the bottom of the flyer in that PDF, and we highly encourage members to join and be a part of creating a great program that can be used for years to come. If you have any questions, you can email me or Dr. McKinley.
So for the upperclassmen, the word you were blanking on. So for the upperclassmen that really need stuff to do, because you need stuff for your resume or stuff for your applications, being a mentor is the thing that you can do. So I would look into it, and we'll put the link in the email that will come out tomorrow. That email is going to have a ton of links, so make sure that you read it. All right, last but not least, Carolyn.
Hey y'all, I'm Carolyn. So I'm in charge of posting on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. So make sure y'all follow us on all of those. And then if you ever find anything interesting that you want posted or any volunteer opportunities, send those my way and I will make sure to share them. Thank you.
All right, so I'm going to stop sharing. Does anybody on the board or chairs have anything else they want to mention that they forgot to say?
Yeah, I do. So for those of you who don't know, FNCE is coming up, which is the big food and nutrition conference expo, whatever all those letters stand for. But unfortunately, it's being held virtually this year, so we don't get to take home boxes of snacks, but it'll still be a great time. So registration's now open. I believe that it's $105 right now for students to go ahead and register for the virtual conference. So make sure you go do that because they will bump the price up at the end of the month if you are interested in attending. So the cheaper, the better. And then also SNDA will be awarding 2 scholarships to attend FNCE online. So I believe we're gonna have a little scholarship application just to fill out, and once so if you're interested in that, definitely fill that out. And then, yeah, we're definitely encouraging a lot of people to go to Fancy, especially with it being online. That's super convenient. Don't have to like fly anywhere, get a hotel room. And then if you're looking forward to the future, Fancy is being held in New Orleans next year. So if you want to keep that in the back of your mind, save a little bit of money to go. I know that's what I'm going to be doing. And we're really trying to be able to get as many people down there as possible. So, I mean, if you have any ideas of fundraising for that, that we could do, just let one of us know. So that's all I got.
And I'll send the Fancy scholarship stuff in its own email, just so it doesn't get lost amongst everything else. So all members will receive that email next week. Anything else anyone wants to talk about? Are there any members that have questions about anything? So I'm totally going to be honest. I forgot to hit record until like 5 minutes into her talking. So I apologize in advance. First, SNDA Zoom jitters. Sorry about that. So I will be better about that. Anna's just got to like wave and hit like, you should make a record sign for me so that I don't forget. So what's going to happen is we will post the SNDA meetings on YouTube, and I'll put the link in that follow-up email that you get, and then we'll put that on Facebook. So even if you don't have a Facebook page, I highly recommend maybe creating like a burner account. Let us know what the name is on it, and we'll let you into the private group so that you get access to that. Only because a lot of it I would like to keep for just members, and we don't really have another platform to do that on right now. So I try to share as much as I can between all of the platforms that we're on. It's just that when I want to keep things a secret, I try to put it on Facebook first without bombarding y'all with emails. Unless it's something really big that I'd like to get out really quick, then I'll email it. But I encourage you to read the emails when we send them, especially this follow-up one, because it's going to have links to everything. We do use Google for a lot of stuff. So the Google Drives will have stuff that you're looking for. We'll have links that you're looking for. We just have a lot going on right now because it's the beginning of the year. But if anyone is interested in helping any of the chairs with what they have going on throughout the year, email them, see what they have going on. I know that Amy's going to need help with the Thanksgiving baskets. And then if you want to help with fundraising or you want to help with whatever, the chairs do have the power to create their own committees if they would like. So if you're wanting to get more involved and help out, or just kind of see what they're up to in hopes that maybe you will be that chair next year, I have no problems with that. So if no one has any questions, we can go ahead and end the meeting.
I have one thing to say.
Oh, Abby's got one thing.
I don't know if y'all like saw, but just in case you didn't, if you wanted Kristen's email, I put it in the chat. And then you kind of said this just now, but I was gonna say if anybody has any like fundraising ideas or like things that we just like have not thought about, you can definitely like reach out to us. And like that kind of goes, like she said, for any of the chairs, if you have come up with any ideas, like feel free to let us know. And that's it.
So I stalk the Facebooks and Instagrams of other student dietetics groups, and I'm all about borrowing ideas. So if you see somebody else doing something cool, we can figure out if we can do it too, if LSU will allow us. We're pretty much open to hearing about anything, and then we'll figure out if we can. And then we do have a speaker already booked for next month. Abby.
Yeah. So his name is Kirk Vadrine. He's from Baton Rouge, and he owns V Wellness Solutions, I think is what it's called, or
V Well Solutions.
V Well Solutions. And he never became a dietitian, but he like went to LSU and studied like nutrition and stuff like that. So he's in like a little different like area. So for like nutrition, health, and society people like that aren't going to be aren't dietetics majors. That might help y'all out a little bit. But he has like his own little company, so he's going to just talk to us about like his journey and like maybe why he didn't choose to become a dietitian and like what he's doing with his business now. So that'll be interesting.
All right, stuff to look forward to. Well, thank y'all for coming. If you have any questions, you can email me or anybody on the board. And we will see you guys later.